So the Rama Mifano in Meah Kesita Siman Ayin explains how there are 10 Mikdashos. There are 10 Batei Mikdash. And this is interesting because you see 10 songs that we're going to have and 10 paras and a number of different 10 things. But here he explains how you have 10 different Batei Mikdash. And here's the count. The first is Mishkan Moshe, Gilgal, and after they crossed the Jordan, then Shilo, where Eli HaKohen was, and then you have Nov and Givon, and then he counts Ir David, the city of David, where they had they brought up the Aron with songs. Remember how David was dancing in front of Hashem, and the whole Haftorah, where he was whistling and dancing, and Michal was embarrassed by it, so they brought it to Ir David. And then, from there, when Shlomo built the Mikdash, they brought up the Aron from Ir David to the Mikdash. And we'll talk a little bit later why he counts Ir David as one of the Mikdashos. At any rate, so then you have the first, second, and third base of Mikdash. And the 10th one is the Zvul HaElyon, the Mikdash Hashem, the base of Mikdash Lamaila. We know we have a Mikdash of Hashem above that corresponds with the Mikdash below, so those are the 10. And so here's how he counts Ir David, because we know that when Nov and Givon were destroyed, and was taken by the Plishtim and so forth, it finally came back and was in the house of Oved Edom Hagiti and in Kiryat Yearim. In those two places the Mishkan was, but it was only Arai. Those were only temporary. Now, in Ir David, when David brought up the Aron to Ir David, it was we did not bring korbanos there. So even though we did not bring korbanos, it still should be considered a mikdash. Why? Because it says, "Vayavo hamelech David v'yeshiv lifnei Hashem." That the king David came there and he sat in front of Hashem. And we know she'ein yeshiva ba'azara ela lemalchei bis David bilvad, that you can only sit in front of Hashem. You can only sit in the azara of the mikdash if you're from the kings of David. So we see that the fact that David sat in front of Hashem there implies that this was in the azara, that this was considered a mikdash, and he sat in front of Hashem in the azara because he was from Malchei Beis David. And not only that, the Aron was there as kavua, it was set, and she'ein al gabav ela Hashem lokav. There's no one over the king other than Hashem. So therefore, there's more of a permanence to the house of the Nasi than these other places, Kiryat Yearim and Beis Oved Edom, where the Aron was. And not only that, but they had a whole ceremony to bring up from there, to change places from there to the Mikdash. And there was we see that it was not so easy to take it away from Ir David. There's a whole story how when Shlomo HaMelech tried to bring the Aron into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, it wouldn't open up. The Aron was stuck because really it should go back to Ir David. That's where it belonged. Until Shlomo HaMelech asks, "Bavur David Avdecha, please open up for the sake of David." And we see that gave a vindication to David because it says in the Gemara that Hushchuru son of Keshule Akdera, that the face of his enemies turned dark like the bottom of a pot when they saw the vindication of David, that the Kodesh HaKadoshim wouldn't open up without his merit. So we see that the Ir David, so that's where the Aron really wanted to be. If it wasn't for vindicating David, the Aron would not have gone into the Holy of Holies in the Mikdash. And so that was the place of the Aron. The Aron felt it should be there, and so again, that is a proof for the strength of the city of David being considered one of the Mikdashos. And also, David HaMelech would not go into the Beis Din Shel Maila, Yeshiva Shel Maila, until he was vindicated below in his actions of bringing the Aron to Ir David, and when the Aron went into Kodesh HaKadoshim by Shlomo HaMelech in that story. So again, those are the 10 Mikdashos.